Everybody, welcome to Coffee Chat with Lindsey and Neely.
Hi, y'all.
We're here. And I did bring coffee. It's decaf. It's decaf, but it's coffee.
Oh my goodness.
So it's a legit coffee chat.
I also have coffee, but I put it in my mug that, holds the heat better because I found that I was talking more than drinking the coffee, and then it would go fast and get cold, and then I drink it down faster. And I have coffee as well.
It happens. There's a lot of commotion going on out there, and I think Autumn just came home.
Oh,
Of course, that has to happen right when we're starting. And the dog gets all excited, all that. So hopefully,
yeah.
Not
Okay.
bother
Your
anyone.
stories on Instagram with Charity sitting there awooing with.
Oh my gosh, that was so funny. Well, because we know that she'll howl, and if you like howl, she'll howl with you. But then they just started saying "howoo,"
And she went,
howling, like it was like her new howl command.
that is fantastic. Precious Izzy. I love it. I love it. It was so
She
good.
just was so agitated. She's like, I just have to do it.
I have to awoo.
Yeah, I got messages from people saying that their dog heard that story and started howling.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Pretty great. Yeah. Hopefully they won't do that during the live stream, though. I think they know not to do that. Maybe. But you never know, actually. I should probably not.
You really can never tell. You really can.
Yeah. Okay, we have Stephanie. I see Stephanie here in the chat first. I never know if there's anyone chatting before I sign in, but
sure.
On my screen, Stephanie was first.
Stephanie's first on mine too.
Excellent. And Judy is here from Albuquerque.
Hi, Judy.
Lays is here, of course. Rita is here from Olympia, Washington. Rickwin.
I know where that is.
Yes, I do too. Not far from me. Rickwin is here. Bill B is here from Florida. Joanne is here. Let's see. That's everybody I see so far. Make sure to say hi in the chat. If you're just watching and you're one of those that just watches and doesn't, join in the chat, just try it. Just try it just once. If you don't like it, that's fine. You don't have to do it again, but just try it.
You just never.
Yeah, exactly. You might discover that you're missing out on all the fun.
Maybe. I mean,
Sing It is here, and she says, Prime Bar Mercy, cross between Tootsie Roll and Brownie. Oh my, so good, and one is enough. Oh, well, that's good. As long as one is enough. Yeah, I still have not tried them, but they do look good. And they work hard to get the sweetness to taste right. They didn't just say, we're only going to do, non-calorie sweeteners to make they're like, we're going to make it taste really good. So that included a little bit of, I forget if it was honey or maple syrup, but, and then it also had other, non-calorie sweeteners in there as well. But I think they worked hard on making it like the taste was the number one
factor.
And then the nutrition, of course.
Yeah. I have not tried the bars. Yeah. I've kind of been on a little bit of a use what I have situation here lately, because I feel like things are bursting at the seams, and if I don't use it, I'm going to go a little bit nuts.
Yeah, I had to go through like my different stashes of things and pull out the stuff that was getting close to the Best Buy date. Sure. Like, I have to use this first. Like, I have a little container of keto chow sitting there, like, you have to use this first, even though I don't want to use, the fun fall flavors and all of my favorites.
I have a question for you. Maybe many people cannot relate to this, but maybe somebody can relate to this. When I have things that may be like limited edition or are seasonal or whatever, I like kind of mentally go a little bit panicky. Like, I can't use that because if I use it, then it's gone. And I like have more value in collecting the things instead of using the things. And that is like an awful
Mhm.
mindset. It's such a scarcity mindset. Like it's never coming back. And it's like, if it were to never come back, I'm sure I would survive that. And something else would probably fill the void.
There
It
is
may not
always
be identical, but also it would still be there. But still,
yeah.
I have some of the summer flavors of keto chow still just kind of like sitting in the pantry, and I'm looking towards the pantry and I'm like, I can't, I can't use it. What happens if it doesn't come back?
Yeah. But then summer will come again and it'll be a whole new set of flavors or, same ones back again that everyone loves. So,
Sure.
yeah,
And I'm
I'm
gonna
speaking
feel
for
this
myself.
way. I'm gonna feel this way when the fall, winter seasonal flavors are gone as well. I'm gonna think, oh no, there's no more eggnog. What am I gonna do?
Mm,
I must hoard and hold on tight until the next go around. And then I'll
yes.
just buy like a handful of them, and then I'll like be able to use, like, if I have 3 in stock, then I'll be able to use the 3 after I replace it with 5 more.
Right. Yes.
It's such a mental conundrum.
Yes. It's funny though, over the summer, I was really into like the fruity flavors of especially
Yeah.
keto chow. And, like, had no and, like, I had a bunch of, fallish flavors in my house, like snickerdoodle and things like that, and I had
Yeah.
absolutely no interest in drinking them. And now I'm,
Mhm.
like, 100% into all of the spice flavors and
All
all
the
of
spices.
the flavors, I'm like, "Ugh, no nope."
Well, and it's like one of those deals where it's like, I wanna hold on to my orange cream until it's summertime because I want a creamsicle, but then I think to myself, "What if we made, like, a cranberry sauce with orange cream?" Because, orange and cranberry always kinda complement one another, and I'm like, "I could use this in the winter, but oh my gosh, I think I only have 1 of them, and how dare I use 1 of 'em?" I'm much more liberal with the big bags than I am with the
Yeah.
individual.
Well, because as soon as you open that, then it's like, "Well, I need to use it up in a timely manner," Not
Sure,
crazy fast,
sure.
but, it does, cut into the longevity of the product.
But also, it's not even just that, it's the fact that there's 21 servings in this bag. So I'm like, you
True.
get a serving, and you get a serving, and
Yeah,
you get a serving. I'm like the Oprah of keto chow. You want
yeah,
chocolate core? I got a chocolate core.
yes. I stocked up on, birthday cake, when it was
Yeah,
out because I
yeah,
love that one, and,
yeah.
Renee will be like, "Mom, can I have a keto chow?" I'm like, "Sure." She's like,
Happy
"How about a
birthday.
birthday cake?" "No, put that one back." You can pick anything you want from the big bag.
You can have anything but the one you really want.
Yeah, pick the one I really want, and there's not a lot of it, so yeah, and,
Right?
so Chris says they will be coming back in the summer. So you're gonna hoard them
Yay.
all the way until they're back again. Although I thought I heard that some of those summer flavors are permanently retired. Did I hear that right? Like orange
I
mango?
I think orange mango might be a retiree.
Yeah. And maybe it seems like there was another one, but,
I
I
feel
don't remember.
like orange mango would make a fantastic orange Julius,
Mm.
because orange Julius used to be like, I remember they printed it in the Dallas Morning News, the actual recipe of the orange
Oh.
Julius, and it had like the orange banana pineapple fruit juice concentrate that you got out of the freezer,
Mhm.
and other things in it. But I feel like orange mango would make a fantastic orange Julius with a little bit of banana, like keto chow mixed in.
Mm. Okay, let's see, who was it? It went away. Oh, Nancy said she's hoarding her last 2 butterscotch.
I have only like a couple of butterscotch left, and I'm like, oh, I think I might only have one. No, I've got 5. Disregard. I've got 5.
I have 5. I counted, yesterday, and I do have 5. I'm like I think I ordered, like, 17 or some random number, and I have 5 left. It's been
We're
a
all
favorite
like,
around
we're
here.
Scrooge McDucking with our keto chow. Like we're sitting
No,
there
it's
just like
so
sifting
ridiculous.
through it.
It's so ridiculous. Let's see.
Such a good time.
Well,
Is
and
keto? Oh, go
even
ahead.
Chris Bear used up the last of the butterscotch in his
Oh,
house. Wow.
sounds like poor management of resources, Chris. You knew they were limited.
Ellie says, "Is keto chow the new Girl Scout cookie?" I kind of think so.
100%.
I mean, like, because they come out seasonally, and Keto Chow has 2 seasons, and then they have their permanent, year round, so it's like,
Mhm.
it's all of it.
I
They
will say that having Keto Chow core chocolate and blueberry pie, those two permanent, I feel like I can be content with my life.
As long as you have those, you'll be okay.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, I pulled out the big bag of piña colada the other
Yep.
day, and I was like, "All right, Jeff, I have to make a piña colada for you every once in a while, or else it's never gonna get used." So I posted
Yeah, it's that one I feel like is just so summery. Like there's
Yeah,
no shifting it. No,
yeah,
it just in your brain, it's just always going to be a summer flavor.
yeah, and it's like, I don't want it to just go bad, like, it needs to just get used. I have
Yeah.
to put it into the rotation, even though, like, it goes against my feelings at the moment.
I wonder if there is a way to kind of like sort of add some different flavor profiles to make it a little bit more cozy rather
No,
than,
I was trying to think of other like, things to add to it to make it different, and
cozy.
I
I
mean,
feel like
what
cozy
do
is the
you
word.
do with piña colada, though? Like, add cinnamon? I don't know. Doesn't stick. All right. Okay, so one thing that I wanted to chat about today, we started talking about it last week. I
You didn't die.
I
That's what you
didn't
wanted
die.
to talk
Sorry,
about.
I was reading Chris's comment. Pina colada time is all the time from now on. Mandatory fun. Yeah. Yeah.
You've been
It's
voluntold
going to
for
be
fun.
summer in November. Okay. So last week I said I was starting my boot camp, and surprise, I'm here. I didn't die, even though it did feel like I was going to.
I am absolutely shocked. I
Yeah.
have I have no brain cells to rub together anymore because they all just exploded in my head.
I know you were planning on doing this live stream solo and have it to
I
be a
was I was I was fully
memorial, session for remembering remembering Indigo Neely.
we've gathered here today.
No, I did
Remember.
survive. Okay, so, I've done 2 classes so far. I did the one, on Thursday, and then I did another one last night, and then I'll do another one tomorrow. Um, it was pretty intense, and let me tell you
Yeah.
what, I would not have done that in my own house without someone else telling me to do it.
You better get over there and you better lift that weight, woman.
I mean, the teacher is very nice and very encouraging, but there's just something, about being, in a group doing something and having a leader,
Yeah.
just leading the way, like, it's just different. It's
Yeah.
just different, and so I feel like it's good for me because it definitely pushed me beyond what I would have chosen to do. Like,
Yeah.
the main part of the class is this HIIT workout where it's it's been different both times, but it's kind of the same format where it's 5 different exercises, and they can include mountain climbers and burpees and jump squats
Mhm.
and jumping lunges and like all the horrible things that we all hate. And so it's 5 different exercises, and then you repeat all of them 5 times. 5 times, and, like, the first time I was like, "She must not I must have not heard her correctly." Like, after the first
Yeah.
round, like, I
Yeah.
must not have heard what "We're not doing this 5 times." And
That's
then she's
not
like,
possible.
"Just 4 more."
You're like, I think I'm gonna puke. I'm out.
Yeah, it was pretty actually, okay, so this is another weird thing. I was having heartburn during the class. It was a morning class,
You
and I
did almost
never have
puke.
heartburn.
Yeah.
But I think I mentioned either in our live stream or, another vlog that I was getting heartburn from cutting out coffee. Did I tell you that?
I feel like you have told me that in the past.
Okay, so I never have experienced regular heartburn ever, like, in
Yeah.
pregnancy a little bit, but that like,
Oh,
it's
I
never
had
been a
awful.
thing for me, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, I noticed it after I cut out coffee in the morning, about when I would drink my coffee, I'd have this heartburn,
It was
and
heartache and your body was longing.
yeah, my body was calling out for for the coffee. Okay, so I still am unsure if it's the lack of coffee. It actually might be the, keto brains, creamer. Kind of weird
Interesting.
because I noticed it and then I was like, "Oh, it went away," but I started drinking something else in the morning that didn't have the keto brains in it, and then the morning that I went to do the exercise, I think I had protein hot chocolate with,
Okay.
keto greens in it, and I, like, had really bad heartburn, and so I still haven't decided yet if it's the keto brains
Worth
for
it
sure
or not?
or a combination of things, but anyways, that was really annoying, so I'm gonna be more careful with what I consume beforehand in the
Yeah.
morning next time, um, but so I that was annoying, but I still was able to, function through the workout somewhat, of course. I had to do plenty of modifications, um, and
And
I was so sore afterwards.
I don't like that for you. I don't love that. How many other classmates did you have?
Okay, in the first one, there was only one other classmate, so that was fun. It was just the 3 of us, and there's a couple other people that signed up that didn't make it yet, so, and then the evening class, there were 4 of us plus the teacher, so that was a little bit better.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's probably a little bit easier for people to get to evening time things.
Yeah, depending. She said she kind of had 2 different groups of clients where it's like the stay-at-home moms and the, 9 to 5s, and
Sure,
different
sure.
times for different people. It's the way it goes. So,
Yeah.
anyways,
But you were dedicated and
I
you
did it.
didn't die.
I didn't die, even though it felt like it. And then, yesterday when we, started, and she's like, "All right, 5 sets." I'm like, "Okay." And then, you do like the first 1 or 2 sets and you're like, "There's no way I'm gonna be able to do 5 of these. There's just no way."
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
somehow you just keep yourself going, and then it's over, and you're like, "I did it." And I was saying to one of my classmates that at the end of a workout like that, I feel so, like, motivated, like, I'm ready to do something. And
Yeah.
then I'm like, "Why can't I feel that in the middle of the workout?" Like, that doesn't seem fair. Can we just transfer that feeling to, like, right when we're starting? That would be great.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be handy for sure. So we've missed some comments,
Yes, we have, yes, we have.
and I'm not sure where we should go
Chris
back to. I did
said
see
we could
Jessica's
use
here.
the pina colada to make coconut shrimp. Yes, we could, but that's a lot of coconut shrimp to eat when you have a big bag of pina colada. Yeah. Jessica
I am
says, "You will
happy.
have fun."
I'm very happy to allow everybody else who loves shrimp the opportunity
Oh.
to eat the shrimp. That's just,
Do you not like shrimp at all?
it's my gift unto society that I will not eat the shrimp. I don't.
Okay. Jeff does not like shrimp. He just says
It's
they're
just,
bugs. So,
well, and
bugs.
they're little water bugs.
There.
The Two Crazy Ketos version of the mac and cheese where they used the baby shrimps. I was just like,
Mm.
I
Yeah.
know they say like, oh, it tastes so great. I'm like, yes, that is beautiful, and I'm so excited to not buy any of it. You can have it all.
Yeah, I have not tried that. I'm afraid that would be a little too shrimpy for me. I'm not like a diehard shrimp fan. I like
Yeah,
them in certain applications if they're made well,
sure, sure.
and I don't eat them often at all. Like, if it was
Yeah,
like grilled shrimp or like a fried, popcorn shrimp or something, yeah, I'll eat that, but it's not something I go out of my way to eat.
yeah. And then to combine it with the coconutty flavor, like that to me, I'm just like, those are two of my not top of the list flavor type combinations. So I also am very happy to allow others.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll try to use some as a coconut chicken instead of a coconut shrimp and
that would
see
be good.
how that goes over. I think Miriam has suggested that in the past. So we'll figure it out. We'll figure it
Yeah,
out.
that does sound really good. Okay.
Karen,
Karen is here for the
yes.
first time and also
Hello.
homeschooling children, and same,
Fantastic.
our children are on their independent stuff right now.
Yep. That's the only way we escape.
Yep, and then we finish our live stream and go, handle the chaos that ensued.
Right. I think that I finally trained my girls to the point where it's like if you struggle with a specific question or a problem or a task and you can go on, please go on.
Yes. Yeah.
Also, if you can't, is there a different subject that you
Yes.
could tackle and be effective at? Like jumping back and forth, like the lily pad method, is okay.
Yes. There's been so many times where it's like the child needs my help with something, and I
Yeah.
find that they've just been sitting there for 15 minutes doing nothing because it's like they hit a roadblock, and it's like, "No, just start this."
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right,
Let's
Ellie
learn to
says
task switch.
yes. Hoarding mentality, yes. I used to have them. It's, best to live your life to the fullest and enjoy the seasonal stuff now.
I
I
know.
agree with that. And
And
go ahead.
I do have like other recipes that I've created for myself to have like a high protein eggnog shake or drink, or I make my own homemade eggnog as well. So it's like I have alternatives, but it's
Mhm.
one of those things where it still is just like I
Yeah,
don't know if I want to use it. I just don't know.
yeah. Well, and when you were saying, like, having it I don't remember how you said it. Having it is more fun than using it?
Yeah,
Something like that?
collecting.
Yeah. I was having a conversation with I think it was Renee, and she was wanting to go shopping. I think she had some money, and she
Mhm.
wanted to spend it, but she didn't have anything in her mind to spend it on. So we were talking about, not spending money just to spend money, and she was like, I think buying the thing is more fun than having it." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, if you can get that figured out at age 8,
You're
you're gonna
gonna
be
go far.
good." And that it's so true, and I've had to stop myself and, like, kinda try to retrain myself from, like, especially deals, like, if it's on clearance
Yeah.
and it's like, "Oh, I have to," like, because that's a limited thing, like, they don't just always
Right.
put that on clearance, like, it's my one chance to
Mhm.
get it, and how many times have I bought, like, 10 of something thinking, "This is a
Yeah.
great deal," and then I ended up throwing away 6 of them because they sat and never got used, and then it's
Right.
like, it's not even a good deal anymore.
Yeah, for
That's a
sure.
really important mindset
That's such an
for
important
us
mindset.
to all have.
I saw a pin on Pinterest at one point in time where it said, "I've decided that the hobby of collecting the materials is different from the hobby of using the
Yes,
materials." And I was
yes,
like,
it's
that
so
just
true.
explains like 90% of my hobby experience.
Yeah. Shopping is so fun.
It's a good time.
Chris says, "Don't forget, burpees hate us as much as we hate them." All right, well, at least there's some satisfaction
Right.
when you do it. Take that.
The burpee.
Let's see. Oh, okay, Cheryl says, "Made a couple awesome batches of cookie bars out of the pina colada,
Ooh.
adding pumpkin spice and banana extract, and top them with coconut, macadamia nuts before baking." That
Okay.
sounds like a mouthful of flavor. Like,
I
that's
also feel like
amazing.
White Lily's chocolate chips or
Oh,
something like that would be like a super fun addition to those type things. I think macadamia nut, I think white chocolate chips.
yeah.
So
That
Cheryl,
sounds
you may have just figured out how we use pina colada.
yep. Have to do it. Um,
Gotta write that down.
okay, let's see. Karen says, "I fell for an infomercial on YouTube recently, bought this program that claimed to cycle low carb, no carb, moderate carb days, but the meal plan has zero, no, or low carb meals. What a ripoff."
That
Yeah,
sounds like a massive ripoff.
I've
Oh,
I've been seeing, I don't know if this is the program that you ordered, but I've been seeing so many ads for, and I don't even know what it is, Keto Cycle, maybe that's it, Keto Cycle, where they're like, all of them say things like, "Keto didn't work for me until I did this," "This one trick fixed my keto diet." I'm like, "Oh, I'm not even." So
okay.
bad.
So Jared and I had a little conversation about this as well. He sent me some articles about Keto 2.0. Have
Mm,
you seen or
yes,
heard?
I think that's might be the same thing.
Yes. So it turned
There was,
out
like,
that
this blast of all of these ads all of a sudden.
yeah, Yeah, and it's like trying to tell you that you do need carb cycling, basically. It's trying to combat the whole keto situation. And this one article that he sent me, he was like, I haven't looked into it. So he didn't really have a ton of context on it. He was just like, have you heard of this? So I read the article, and I think it might have been from like Healthline or something like that. And the main point was to buy that Keto Cycle app, and you're doing keto 2.0, it's telling you when to have like more carbs or no carbs or all of these other things. And it's just like keto really is a simple approach. There's we way overcomplicate the things. We
Yeah.
really do. And I mean, I am absolutely at fault, but
Oh, yeah. Me too.
I don't need an app to tell me to stop eating keto and have it labeled as a keto app. That just
Right. Okay, so
irks me a little
keto
bit.
is a thing. Keto it's just like it's a metabolic state. So to say the thing your ketosis metabolic state needs is carbs, like it doesn't compute. Now, if they say we have a different diet that's better than being in ketosis and it involves carbs, great. Make your argument. That's fine. But to say that we fixed keto by adding
Now
carbs,
it's 2.0.
it just doesn't make sense. And Steve from Serious Keto has been talking about this on his
His
video
podcast.
the last several weeks, like the term ketovore and like all of that. And I totally get where he's coming from on that. Like they're all just keto, like
Yeah.
keto. And it's such a funny thing because keto is a unicorn of a diet because it's not a diet. It's like you have all these different diets that are describing the food you eat, and then you have keto, which is not
State of
a group
being.
of foods.
Right.
It's a metabolic state. And we're also different that we can get into ketosis through different groups of foods
Yep.
depending on, our activity level and our everything.
Yeah.
And so to label any food keto is
Mm-hmm.
problematic. And so, but then at the same time, it's like he was talking about labeling things ketovore, and it's like, why do we need the term ketovore when we could just say keto? And my response to that, and I did comment on his video, the reason that I have used the term ketovore is because I did keto back in the early 2000s when basically protein was almost as bad as carbs, like in people.
Mm-hmm.
So when you said this is a keto recipe, it was assumed that it was high fat and
Low
moderate,
protein.
which I would call low protein,
Mm-hmm.
of course, low carb. But when you do ketovore, like that's when I realized that I could eat a lot more
Higher
protein than
protein.
that.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, I don't want to call it keto because there's so many people, it's kind of changing now, but from back then, there's so many people that think that protein is the same as sugar in your
Mm-hmm.
body. And so it's kind of like if someone were to create a recipe, that had, and I've seen this before, it's like a recipe that has coconut sugar in it and they call it keto. And you're like,
How
but it's
does
sugar. And people
glucose?
used to have that same mentality about too much protein
Yeah.
more than they do now. And so that's why I chose originally to use the term ketovore because it was like I eat low carb, but I eat higher protein and I'm not original keto macros.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. I think what I his initial podcast talking about how you're like defining something that doesn't need to be defined. That spoke to me so much. I'm like, it frustrates me a little bit whenever people say carnivore is keto,
Mm,
because if you're eating animal products, where does honey fall in that? Because honey is still technically an animal product. And milk, yeah, totally like full of glucose, sugar, lactose,
yeah.
fructose,
You could
all of
eat
those things.
a whole
And
day's worth of like honey and milkshakes all day long and call it a carnivore diet, and it would not be keto.
Right. And so I tend to view things as more of a complex Venn diagram rather than a like a
Yeah.
progression of like regular standard American diet to a low carb to a keto to ketovore to carb.
Mhm.
Like to me, it's not a linear progression. It's more of a
Mhm.
complicated Venn diagram because you could do a vegan style keto diet
Mhm.
because you could have such a low amount of protein that you could still keep your carbs low and you would still have a high enough amount of
You'd
fat
be
from
in ketosis.
right. So like it's one of those things where it's like if we put these kind of labels on it, it becomes something that it's not and then it becomes a misnomer and then people don't fully understand the concept. But I also can fully appreciate the fact that like if people are told eat 20 carbs or less total per day, and then you'll be on your way to metabolic health. Like I can appreciate needing some sort of term for that. I just think that this whole like carb cycling but labeling it keto 2.0 is just trying to capitalize on the concept of keto
Absolutely.
while shifting it to something that it may not be.
Yeah. And
But
so for me, I think ideally keto would be like only one piece of your diet. Like if someone were to say, "What kind of diet do you eat?" You would never say just keto. It has to go
right.
along with something because you could say, "I'm keto and I'm vegan," or "I'm keto and I eat only whole food," or "I'm keto paleo." Even that kind of means something like you don't have dairy and you don't have, um,
Yeah.
artificial or
Legumes,
whatever. Anyway,
nuts.
yes.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like I eat keto, but I also try to keep my diet fairly whole foods based.
Sure.
Like there could be so many things that I could say about my diet besides keto that when I say keto, it does not tell you what kind of a diet I eat. Because you could, I mean, because I could say I eat keto and my main fat be seed oils, and I could just be eating Atkins bars and
Canola oil
keto yeah, keto, frozen foods.
and
It's
a
like
lot of maltodextrin.
yeah, and so people want to take the term keto and make it mean no seed oils and only whole foods and, no I mean, all kinds of different things, and you're like, "No, just let keto be what it is, ketosis, that's it."
Yeah.
Then beyond that, you decide what other kind of a diet you're doing, keto dash whatever it is. And it
Yeah.
could be keto carnivore where I'm in ketosis, so I'm eating a keto diet, and the way I'm doing that is by eating only meat.
I'm
There you
achieving this metabolic state this way.
exactly, exactly, and so, like, the whole trying to manipulate what keto means or trying to label foods keto or not keto, it never is going to work perfectly, and
Right.
because
And
I
it
think I'm like
offends everybody.
yeah. Oh, exactly. Because it's like because so, Steve was saying ketosis is a metabolic state, and whatever you eat to get to that metabolic state, that's keto, which I totally agree with. It gets tricky when what happens when an ultra marathon runner starts a YouTube channel and puts out keto recipes and says, "I could drink a glass of orange juice after I run 100 miles and I'm right back into ketosis. So orange juice is keto. So here's my recipe that includes orange juice."
Yeah.
You're like, "Well, that's not gonna be keto for most people, but it
Right.
is for you, so it's on your keto diet, like, orange juice is keto for you," so
Sure.
that's where it gets just
Dicey.
muddy, and we have to have
Mhm.
something besides keto. I mean, keto friendly does help because it's like, this
Sure.
is more likely to be helpful for you to get into ketosis than other things, but, I mean, I know for me, just eating too much protein will not let me have higher ketone numbers. So is
Mhm.
protein not keto? I mean, I guess technically in a certain way.
Yeah.
But then do we say steak is not keto? No, of course not. Like,
I'm out.
I know if I eat
Out.
2 pounds of it, I'm not gonna be in ketosis. I don't know.
It's definitely a more complex sort of concept to parse out. And I think that defining terms when you instigate a conversation about the things is your best bet. Like just a blanket, like the royal you and the royal we. If we instigate the conversation, like I like to eat in a keto friendly way, I do that by these qualifiers, then it, even if the other person's definition of that is different than yours, they at least can connect the dots in their mind. Like, this is what they're doing. This is what I call it. We can keep moving forward.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't know. We've also missed a lot of things people have said.
That's true. I was just gonna say, I really like the term low carb.
I know.
It is so clear. I mean, I guess people could say 100 grams of carbs is low carb, and other people say, no, 20 grams of carbs is low carb. But at least it's telling you something concrete rather than something about your own metabolic state. Like, I
Yeah.
can't tell you what's going to be keto for you across the board.
Right.
Like, you have to find that out yourself. But I can tell you something is low carb.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. Lynette is here. Hi, Lynette. Yay. Sing It is asking what in the keto brains would cause heartburn. And honestly, I don't know. I don't think it's the coconut milk or the MCT oil powder because I use both of those things.
Oh, what if it's the lion's mane? Uh-oh. Oh dear, did I freeze or did you freeze? I am here. Did I freeze or did you freeze?
I don't know. I got a note that said disconnected, reconnecting now, and you froze to me, but I don't know what that means.
I got 0 messages and so you froze on me. It's your fault.
Okay. Oh, Blaze says that I froze. I don't know. Whatever the case. Anyways, I don't know for sure what in the keto brains would cause the heartburn. They, it has the adaptogens and things in there. So I don't know. I'm not saying for sure that is the case. I need to experiment with it, but it did seem to line up.
Correlation does not equate causation.
Exactly. Okay. Let's see. Now I lost my spot in the chat here. We're
trying, people.
Yes. Okay. Wow, it's been lots of chats, and we have missed so much, and
so much. Yeah. We just pontificated on our own without really taking a pause.
Yes. Okay. John says low carb is so hard to implement in reality. Do you find that to be the case, Lindsay?
So I went from Standard American to Nourishing Traditions, which is slow food, but still very heavy in the carb department. And then I shifted over to Trim Healthy Mama carb cycling, and then immediately was into the keto friendly macros instead of having carbs. So I never really found myself eating 100 carbs a day for very long. I do agree, like trying to do a carb cycling situation without some very clear parameters set from the get-go and a clear plan on what you're doing, how you're doing it, and then how you're moving off of it is beyond my mental capacity. So yeah. I personally would not do well. Like, oh, you could have 50 grams of popcorn and you could have 3 Oreo cookies and then eat only animal-based for the rest of your meals, and you'd still fall in low carb. That would do awful things for my personal willpower.
Yeah. Well, for me, I feel like in my journey, if I just eat the way that I enjoy and what I know makes me feel good, it ends up being low carb. Like,
Yeah.
so I've gotten to the point where it's easy for me. And I
Mhm.
usually hit, 30 grams of carbs, something like that. So I would consider that
Yeah.
low, not zero carb for sure. But
Right.
that's like if I just don't think about it and just eat what's normal to me now.
Yeah.
And one quote that I absolutely love from Dr. Jade Teta is easy is earned.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you look at people and you're like, "Oh, they just don't struggle. It's so easy for them. They just eat these healthy foods and it's like they don't even think about processed food anymore." When I'm sitting here struggling and just, not being able to drive past the fast food restaurant without going through the drive-through. And it's not just this magical thing that some people have that willpower and
Yeah.
some people don't. It's that I mean, maybe for some people it is, but a lot of times, probably the majority of times, people actually work really hard to create habits. And when
Yes.
you're in the habit of going through the drive-through every time and always, feeding your body this kind of food, it is going to be really hard to implement low carb in that reality.
Yeah.
But you can change your habits, and it's not
Mhm.
easy, it doesn't happen overnight, there's also, like, metabolic changes that have to happen in your body where your body will stop screaming for the things that you've been feeding it, but if you push through and endure, it can get to the point of being easy. I think that's what I wanna communicate, that it's not just that it's hard or it's not hard, it's that it can be hard in the beginning, and it often is, and for me, it was absolutely painful. Like, to get off sugar originally, it was so hard. But now, like, if I was in those like, I remember so clearly 2 separate things. One, my husband would come home from work and pour himself a bowl of cereal and sit and eat it. And I just remember it being the most painful thing to listen to that. I would have to leave the room. Like, it was so hard. He doesn't do that anymore, thankfully, because we have both come a long way in our journeys of health. Um, but now, if he were to do that, I would not have that same reaction at all. Like, I just
Yeah.
there was another situation where, we it was before we had kids, and we were at our apartment, and a friend came over, and the friend worked at a pastry shop, or, baked goods, and he brought a cheesecake over. Like, this just, I just we weren't gonna use it, so just brought it, and everyone's, like, eating cheesecake, and I'm sitting there like, "Can't do it."
Suffering.
And it was so painful. And how many times in the last 10 years have I walked past cheesecake and it not even have been a second thought? Like,
Yeah.
it's just my body is different, my mind is different than it
Yeah.
was then. And so it does get easier. And that voice of cravings always likes to make you think that it won't get easier. Like, it'll only get worse. If you
Yeah.
don't give me this, it'll only get worse. And that is absolutely not true. It is the
Mhm.
opposite. And if you give it those things, the cravings just maintain and they get worse. So it's like it's 100% the opposite of what the craving is telling you.
There's
So
a
anyway,
phrase for that called counterintuitive.
yes, it is. It is. Like, your body's just screaming for it and you're like, you have to be smarter than that. You have to be
Yeah.
like more logical, like, no, tell
Yeah.
myself the truth. If I eat that, it will fuel the craving for the next day. If I don't eat that, the craving will eventually diminish. Maybe not overnight, might take a little while, but it will eventually diminish.
And I think also a lot of people are given this narrative of you slowly step your way down. You just kind of like eke your way down from eating a standard American diet to eating a non-standard American diet. And for me, that would have never changed the way that I look at
Right.
food or understand the way that food affects us. I had to go cold turkey, instant change overnight. It was a lot harder to slowly make my way over like a few weeks rather than just like an overnight shift. It was tough, it was not easy, but it was easier than having like this sort of gradual, like, okay, just change your breakfast and then everything else do the normal thing.
And
And
for
then
some
just,
people that works.
and that's amazing if it does work for people, but that was for sure not the path for success or to
Right.
success for me.
Right. Well, it's funny because like my husband, his path to becoming, he's not keto, but he's a lot lower carb than he used to be and a lot
Yeah.
more protein focused. And, you know, he's cut out so much like bread products and different things like that. And it was not an overnight, like, okay, I'm going keto. It has been extremely slow in
Yeah.
his stepping down. And that works for him. He's a very different kind of person with a very different kind of body than me. And
Yeah.
it has worked for him. So that's great. It's like whatever works, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
I'm so
all
sorry that we've missed so many comments, y'all.
Karen says ketovore to me is when you're trying to be very strict and lean more towards protein, like carnivore. Yes, that's kind of how I always thought of it. It's like it's very meat focused, but
Mhm.
not so meat focused that you can call yourself carnivore, where you're not
Right.
where you're excluding all plants.
Yeah.
That's kind of been my thought about it. But different people have different ideas about what ketovore means.
Well, and I know like Dr. Barry and Nurse Nisha, they're really trying to like communicate the parameters of a proper human diet as low carb is 100 or less, keto is 20 or less, ketovore is 10 or less, and carnivore is just like almost no carbs, right? And
Yeah.
I can fully appreciate that, giving it labels to help clarify, but also they sat there and they defined it, right? So they constantly share their definition of those terms,
Yeah.
and that's what allows people to understand. But like I said, I think that it can become very confusing or create tension when you don't define that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and everyone's gonna, I mean, a lot of people are gonna define it differently because we don't
Mhm.
have one central, uh, leader that declares from on high what what everything means. So
Is
it's
there an election for that?
there
Who
should
would
be.
nominate?
Oh my gosh. Who would we nominate? And
Who
who
will
would
be the
win?
keto king
The
or
keto
keto
king.
queen?
Yes. Well, and it wouldn't, well, I don't know. Don't even know. But I think Dr. Barry would probably win, but that's just my guess. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. I
who
feel
would
like it
you
needs to be
nominate?
somebody who doesn't want the title,
Oh,
and
well,
and
maybe he
he
doesn't
strikes me
want
as someone who might enjoy the title. I
to.
could
Yeah,
be wrong. I could be
well,
wrong.
yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe Steve from Serious Keto.
I would be on board with Steve for
I think he
sure.
would do a great job. Yeah.
He's very pragmatic, and I feel like
Yeah.
that's what it.
Yes. All right. All right. That's it. We're passing the motion. Steve will be the keto king.
I nominate Steve. Second. Pass or carries. The motion carries. That's what it is.
Oh,
I'm
all
not a
right.
good whatever the not delegator, but a
Should we dive into this question? Is it
well, I feel like we could probably pontificate on that for like an hour. So
good?
what if we took that question for next week?
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Let's see. Where am I at? Chris Bear says, not on the original 4-to-1 keto macros because I'm not treating epilepsy. That is a good reason. Yeah, so that's 4-to-1 fat to protein. That would be so hard. I mean, that's like fat fast level. And it can be an incredibly therapeutic thing for certain, issues
Instances. Yeah.
like epilepsy. But man, to try to live on that and be have optimal health, I think that would be hard. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I just think I'm not going to try it.
Yeah, I'm content with where I am right now.
Thing it says, I'm keto carn. Sounds great.
That works.
Let's see. All right. Now Chris is going to have well, actually, honey is not produced by animals. It is only gathered by animals. Sorry, but people that consider honey carnivore are lying to themselves because they want sweet. Oh, he said it. Mic
Ooh.
drop.
However, milk is still technically carnivore and
Yes.
high sugar content. So
Yes. Yes. Although, I don't think of milk as a sweet thing. It
sure,
satisfies a sweet taste, I
craving.
think, but I wouldn't call it like a candy. I don't know. It still has a little bit of savoriness to me.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I don't know.
We're not the same.
Exactly. But honey, I mean, that's just straight sugar.
For
Not
sure.
that there's not good things in honey as well, but
For
it's a lot
sure.
of sugar. It's candy. I would call
Yeah.
that candy. Doo-doo-doo. Oh, Risa has a keto chow board on Pinterest.
Well, that's because Chris said, "Is Pinterest still even a thing?" Of course it is. Of
I
course
still
it
use
is.
it.
I can
Basically,
remember.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
You go ahead.
I was gonna say, I remember whenever you had to like apply to be able to have
Oh,
Pinterest a
yeah.
Pinterest account, and I want to say that was like 2010, maybe that was still going on
Yeah. That was a long time ago. Yeah. I basically just use Pinterest as like my bookmark
for stuff.
page for anything. Yeah. Yeah. I used to like try to organize it and make all the different boards. Now I just pin something, and then if I'm like, oh, I need to go find that, and then I go search for that in my pins and I know it's there.
Yeah.
So, but it used to be like just sit and pin things for hours.
Oh my
I
word.
don't do that
That's
so much
another one of
anymore.
those collecting hobbies rather
Yes.
than executing hobbies.
Yes. It's virtual hoarding is what I like to
That's
call it.
absolutely true. I have so many like sewing projects on my Pinterest boards that I'm like, just collecting them is good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Chris Bear is logging food mostly to make sure I'm getting enough protein. That is good. Sometimes it's like I will be eating a certain way and I'll have in my mind that it's ending up being about this amount of protein. And then when you go in and actually add it to the log, you're like, oh, I guess it
I
wasn't
was
what I
wrong.
thought. So going in and doing that every once in a while is very helpful.
It's a good way to humble yourself.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me if maybe it was Sing It. She asked if I just have ever tried shrimp or if it's just a hard no. No, I've eaten shrimp. I've eaten it and decided
You've
that
just
that
not
is
done it right.
maybe. I've also had scallops and thought that those were oysters, octopus. That's a no. Like prawn, like the big giant jumbo like shrimp prawn peoples. I'm good with stuff like salmon and like tilapia, or kind of like, I mean, tilapia is a fishy fish, but some of the more like meaty fish, I'm okay with those. But when it comes to the seafood side of things, I'm just like, I have tasted and seen it is not for me.
Like in my mind, I like all of the seafood things, but then when I actually have it on my plate, I have found that I'm like, it's not as good as I anticipated.
If it breathes underwater, I'm gonna second guess it.
Okay. Stephanie says, I have made my husband carnivore. I make the meals and he just eats them. Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be amazing to have someone just cook you meals that are healthy and you just eat them? Like, I don't even know what that would be like.
Well, when I first started off on the THM then to keto thing, Jared was not on board with it at the time, and then it was like a slow progression for him, and he was able to do the slow progression because I was the one preparing the majority of the food at home, and he had fewer things where he had to choose. So I think it's one of those things, like if you're the one doing like the putting the knife to the board, then you've got to be the one to be very strict with yourself.
Yes. Yes. I like have this fantasy of when the kids all move out, I'm gonna get one of those meal subscription services and never think about food again.
I struggle with that concept so much. I'm
I mean,
like,
I'm sure I would hate it and I would not end up doing
yes,
it, but it's like in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, my whole
it's
life
already,
would like I would have so much opportunity to do anything else besides think about food.
yeah, yeah.
Oh goodness.
I just don't think I could do it.
Yeah.
It would feel like, why would I pay somebody to do something that I could do for myself?
Yeah,
That's
and I would
that's
probably be like, "Oh, I don't feel like eating that tonight. I'll just go make something else."
that's right. Give me a
But it's still
plethora of,
there's something in me that's just like, "Man, that would
that's
be the
right. Yeah,
life."
yeah, 100%.
Oh, Steve is here. I just saw his comment.
What is up, serious
Well, Steve,
keto?
we nominated you
We
and
totally
pretty much
nominated
just voted
you.
you in as Keto King.
We did. We nominated, we seconded it, and the motion carried.
Yeah, yeah, just between the two of us.
We decided, and you won.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were talking about how, the whole talk about keto and ketovore and carnivore and like all these different things. And we're like, it's difficult because we don't have one person that's, just sits up on high and declares to all of us what these things mean. And so we
Yeah.
were like, you know what? We should just nominate somebody. And it was between you and Dr. Barry. And I think you won. So congratulations.
We'll give you a scepter in the mail.
Is there really already a channel called Keto King? That would be
Oh, is
awesome.
there?
Well, we're gonna take it. Well, whatever the price, we will pay it to get that channel name.
I mean,
Prince.
it's not really a channel situation. It's more of an office to be held.
Yeah.
And so I feel like your channel just becomes the
It could
channel,
be
the office.
Keto, in parentheses, King.
King of keto.
Keto King. King of Keto.
You have to manage all legislation on your own though, so
We could try to get him a secretary or something.
absolutely. We're working on it. We'll get your cabinet all set up.
Well, the talk was, so you say that's probably more responsibility than I'm up for. The talk was that we really wanted somebody that didn't want the job, because if someone wants the job, they're not going to be the right one for the job. So you're already proving that you're the perfect choice.
It's kind of like George Washington not wanting to be president, and yet.
Yeah. Yep.
That was the idea.
From serious keto to Prince Keto. That's beautiful. All right. Well, this has been fun. Good.
No, that's just the Wisconsin wind making your cheeks all ruddy.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Well, we are coming up on an hour, and we've already accomplished so much in this live stream, I feel like. I mean, we crowned the king or prince of keto. And I mean, what else can we offer the world than that today?
I don't think we can offer anything greater than that. Therefore, that is our legacy. We are all done here. Also, I feel like we need to go back through the comments like for next week, because I wrote down the question, our take on carnivore, because I feel like that one is one that we could fully address. And I feel like we got so many like really good comment situations happening this go around that we could really pontificate for the next several live streams.
Yeah. And then another comment that just came in from I'm winning about the blood type diet. We could talk about that as well. So totally do that. All right. And Steve says, sorry, he was filming with his grandson. I mean,
we will forgive you this time, but next time
that's an acceptable excuse. I mean, if it was anything else.
Anything else.
All right. Fine. Thank you all for joining us today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. And have a good day, guys.